I'm a screenwriter who focuses on female experiences and female observations. About a year ago, I went to the Getty Center for the first time, and I never forgot one painting, The Birdcatchers. I visited again recently and discovered even more details about the painting that I found interesting. I'm adapting this painting into a short script. When adapting a painting, you have a lot more creative freedom, which I am using to my advantage. This painting was painted in 1748, which makes it public domain, which means I can actually write about it and credit it for my inspiration. The painter, Francois Boucher, had a different message behind his paintings than how I would interpret it as a young woman of today. A year ago, I stood in front of this 116 by 133-inch painting and couldn't place myself in the shoes of those women. It was almost funny to me. I'll read you the description of the painting that the Getty provided. Young lovers and other companions snare birds in cages or tether them with strings. Birds caught and then released had symbolic currency among the 18th century cultural elite as allegories of lost virginity, while in contemporary poetry, the happily caged bird was a metaphor for a lover's heart, willingly imprisoned. Boucher excelled at such pastoral scenes, at once highly refined and playfully erotic, which satisfied his clientele's nostalgic desire for country pursuits. Willingly imprisoned. As a writer, I see something and I make fun of it. I am changing his agenda to fit my own. When I first read that, it made me think of two things, the Matilda effect and the male loneliness epidemic. The Matilda effect refers to historical and ongoing bias against recognizing the achievements of women scientists, often leading to their work being attributed to their male colleagues. The Matilda effect is named after Matilda Joslyn Gage, who was a suffragist and abolitionist. In 1893, she wrote an essay called Women as an Inventor, which protested the idea that women could not be inventors or geniuses. This effect obviously transcends all fields. People believe Zelda Fitzgerald is the real author of The Great Gatsby. Elizabeth Magie invented Monopoly, not Charles Darrow. Margaret Keane's husband, Walter Stanley Keane, sold her paintings as if they were his own. Even today, it's not in fashion for women to be geniuses, inventors, or leaders. Like I mentioned before, the Birdcatchers also reminded me of the male loneliness epidemic, which is essentially men feel more alone than they have in previous decades. When women are brought in on the topic, they have a different perspective. Most, including myself, believe it most likely does not exist. This is all a part of our change in culture. Women no longer survive on men's approval, now that we can have our own bank accounts. Men can't live up to their own traditional standards anymore, and that reflects onto women. Men can no longer find a wife like the ones they idolized growing up, and wouldn't dare settle for a woman instead of a wife. Women are now discouraged to settle for a man who would view them as such. A husband's weaponizing competence has been deemed a turnoff. All this to say, the praising of catching a bird is something I think is a perfect parallel to today. Things like the orange peel theory, which is when a girlfriend asks her boyfriend to peel an orange for her, and if he does, that somehow proves he's a competent man. All of this leads back to the idea of earning a woman and how a woman's potential can be wasted. A quote from a commentary video about trad wives always stuck out to me. How many Einsteins have spent their lives washing dishes? How many Mozarts bent over stoves instead of pianos because they had the misfortune of being born a woman? And I trained to be a baker for 9 years. My goal in all of this isn't to point fingers at men, it's to look at the women. I see something and I make fun of it. I'd hope that I could write something to the men and women who are victims of this cycle that lives so beautifully in his work. Francois Boucher clearly viewed women as beautiful, but not much more.